For almost 50 years, the reasons for the Rolex Middle Sea Race's popularity have been easy to pinpoint. A breathtaking racecourse, tactically challenging and scenic. Close competition, and above all, the indomitable spirit of sportsmanship and camaraderie. Organised by the Royal Malta Yacht Club, the race traditionally signals the end of Mediterranean racing season, as such a world-class fleet of 111 yachts from 22 nations gathers in Valletta's harbours. The contenders include Rambler 88, aiming to threaten the course record set in 2007 by her namesake, while Michele Galli's B2 looks to repeat her IRC win from 2013. However, this race is as much about the Corinthian crews as their professional counterparts.
Andare per mare negli anni 70, quando andavi con una radio in mezzo all'oceano con una barca così, era come andare nello spazio. Solo che non c'avevi la NASA dietro, eri da solo con la tua radio e potevi solo sperare che andasse tutto bene. Io voglio che i ragazzi vivano questa esperienza del mare, che è forte.
In recent years, Riccardo Genghini and his wife Marietta Strasoldo have been campaigning Lunz and Meer, an elegantly presented Swan 651 in European competition. For these two enthusiasts, there's more to the regattas than just chasing victory or enjoying the journey. Instead, the goal is to encourage a younger generation to enjoy sailing on a yacht from another era.
Quando avevo la loro età io ero uno imbarcato su uno Swan che faceva regate ed è stato probabilmente il periodo più bello della mia vita. Non avevo le preoccupazioni del proprietario della barca. Mi piace oggi essere nel ruolo che era di un'altra persona 35 anni fa. E quello che vedo quando per la prima volta un ragazzo, anche uno studente di ingegneria nautica che sale a bordo, lo vedi negli occhi che sono stupefatti.
The crew aboard this 1984 vintage Swan is a mix of experience and enthusiastic youth. Many are students with limited experience aboard a classic yacht.
Es ist ein riesiger Spaß. Jedes Mal ist es ein Lernen. Regatta ist sowieso Lernen, weil immer etwas kaputt geht, immer etwas Unvorhergesehenes passiert. Aber mit einer jungen Crew ist einfach noch die Neugierde da. Was ein 30-Jähriger, ein 40-Jähriger, der macht seinen Job.
Lunz and Meer is a founder member of the Spirit of Tradition class, which made its debut at this year's Rolex Maxi World Championships. The class aims to showcase these vintage yachts and promote a more relaxed form of sailing.
E questo mettere i nonni vicino ai nipotini su un campo da regata, che corrono entrambi, ovviamente i nipotini sono più agili, più veloci, più tecnici. La vela moderna non è che sia sbagliata, non ho niente contro le barche moderne, ma c'è anche quell'altra cosa lì. Spirit of Tradition vuol dire non dimenticare che c'è quel mare, che c'è quel modo di andare per mare. Questo è lo Spirit of Tradition.
The cannon from the saluting battery in Valletta's Grand Harbour signal the 7 starts of the 36th edition of the Rolex Middle Sea Race. The drama of the cannon isn't matched by the weather, but manoeuvring racing yachts out of the confines of the Grand Harbour in light conditions can be a tense affair.
Starboard, guys! Starboard!
There's more than enough time for spectators to take in the full diversity of the fleet from their spectacular vantage points. From the amateur Maltese crews such as Arty and Elusive to the vintage Swans, and the contenders for overall victory, B2 and Mascalzone Latino. The state-of-the-art monohulls, Momo and Rambler 88. And finally, the impressive multi-hulls, Paradox and Fado Cubed. In less than 5 knots of breeze, the fleet emerges into open water and heads north for Sicily. A circular anti-clockwise route takes competitors 608 miles around the volcanic island of Stromboli and then the islands of Favignana, Pantelleria and Lampedusa before returning to Malta. 5 hours after the start, Lunz am Meer, like the majority of the fleet, is struggling in the light air, but spirits remain high.
L'umore a bordo al momento è abbastanza rilassato, mentre la concentrazione è principalmente a Pozzetto e il timoniere che devono stare molto attenti alla regolazione delle vele perché essendoci poco vento un minimo sbaglio potrebbe rallentare molto la barca.
By dusk, the leading yachts reach the extreme eastern point of Sicily. Rambler 88 seeks breeze inshore and is rewarded with a 10-mile gain over Fado Cubed as the trimaran heads further east to avoid the effect of Mount Etna. Nevertheless, on the afternoon of day 2, it is the multi-hull who has regained the advantage and is first to pass the Strait of Messina. Mascalzone Latino lies in 4th place as the Cookson 50 exits Messina.
We are exactly 30 miles from Stromboli, so we're going to carry on for another couple of hours of jibe and come into Stromboli just as the sun sets. It'll be beautiful. But yeah, it's good to be out of the Straits.
On the evening of day 2, the leading craft reached Stromboli. The volcanic island has long been the iconic trademark of this race. Fado Cubed now rounds the island, reaching a speed of 15 knots, but still only narrowly ahead of Rambler 88. George David's craft has been built to compete in all conditions. And once more, this Juan K designed canting-keeled Maxi is forced to show her ability in the light, shadowing her more dynamic rival for line honours. These two craft build a 2-hour advantage over the fleet, now headed by Dieter Schoen's Maxi 72 Momo. For Lunz am Meer, wildlife and wind come as a package, as the Austrian yacht reaches Stromboli at dawn on day 3, where a flat calm frustrates their progress once more. But according to the team's tactician, it is precisely in these lulls that a sailor can gain valuable experience.
Abbiamo il tempo nelle bonacce di insegnare come si fa una mandorletta, di come si fa una piomba, di come si cambia il fioco e non si finisce mai di imparare. Io ogni tanto guardo loro e dico, ma come si farà sta roba? Quindi la cosa bella della vela è che uno continua a imparare dagli altri.
And for many on the team, racing on open seas is just one aspect of their education. For the last 40 years, Southampton's Solent University has been running a degree in yacht and powercraft design.
Le regate sono una motivazione per lo studio che sto facendo. Quando ritorni allo studio ti motiva a incuriosirti, a leggere di più e a studiare di più.
The object of the exercise is to find out where G is, 0.7.
The course is responsible for over 70% of the named yacht designers currently practicing today. 3 of the Lunz am Meer crew are currently undertaking the course, the first step to a career in naval architecture.
The students themselves from day 1, in year 1, are actually designing their own boats. And obviously we start off with something simple, but as they progress through the years, by the end of the 3rd year, they could be designing their version of a open 60 single-handed round-the-world race yacht. They could be designing the next Sunseeker model, or they could be designing the next MOD trimaran. But where they're starting from is some very simple concepts, but we take them right through so that they can really compete up against the big boys who've been out there designing for a long time. Yachts these days are very complex, high technology craft. So they're actually using computer-aided design to shape their hulls. We can then translate that into the finer design. We can test that design in the towing tank. students can then predict the speed that these boats are going to do using commercially available software, which is currently used in the majority of the yacht design industry. Once they're happy with the design, we've obviously got to build the boat, and most people appreciate the fact that faster is lighter. So we take them through the stages of constructional design. It used to be wood, now it's carbon. So students who are graduating from this course have all of these current skills which they can take straight into industry and pretty much use from day one, depending upon which section of the industry they're in.
Techniques taught in the classroom can then be put into practice out at sea. And inspiration can strike at any moment.
Continui sempre a guardare I migliori aspetti della barca e con gli altri e cerchi sempre di confrontarti per vedere quale potrebbe essere una nuova cosa che gli altri non sanno e tu non sai, e però che stai studiando insieme, magari durante l'anno non l'hai capita e sulla barca invece appare in un attimo.
To become a good designer, you need to understand that you could be spending a week of your life sitting at 30 degrees on the rail. And obviously it could be uncomfortable, and if you can appreciate what's going on, you can try and hopefully design that boat to be a little bit more comfortable. Now, it's difficult to teach that in the classroom, but if they're actually out there doing it and seeing it, then they are the ones who can then make the next steps in improving designs for everybody, whether racing or cruising.
By dawn on day 3, the winds increase as the leading yachts reach Sicily's most western tip. Fado Cube's lead has increased, but Rambler 88 continues her pursuit, sailing upwind at 13 knots. The early light winds have stopped George David's team from breaking their own course record. But in these conditions, this state-of-the-art American monohull can demonstrate her true capabilities. Momo passes Favignana 7 hours behind her 2 rivals. At this stage, the race is extended along the course, with over 250 miles separating the front and rear of the fleet. In the battle for overall victory, 2 Italian yachts are making their intentions clear. Michele Galli's B2 now leads on corrected time. The TP52 negotiates the area of light wind off Palermo and is able to take advantage of the fresh southern breeze at Favignana. Just 3 miles behind, but with a slightly better handicap rating, lies Mascalzone Latino. There's little to separate Vincenzo Onorato's Cookson 50 from her Italian rival as they look to make IRC their own. The Camino Channel between Gozo and Malta marks the final leg of the race, but interest around this section of the track isn't limited to its surface. The area attracts divers from across the globe, eager to explore its depths. One man who knows these waters better than most is Edward Arrigo, who has been diving here for over 60 years.
It all started back in '53 really, and perhaps even a year before, going down catching sea urchins. Then after that the guns came into fashion and was fished from sea urchins into catching fish. Representing Malta and spearfishing took me to Portugal, Spain. The furthest I've been was Chile and Cuba. I have about 120 trophies at home.
These crystal waters will soon accommodate the middle sea race competitors. But for the moment, there is time for this former professional diver to explore. Now 74 years of age, Edward's passion for the deep remains undiminished.
Well, I've fished around practically every stone, cave and drop-off around Malta. Since these last few years, a lot of wrecks have been sunk purposely for scuba divers, and the old wrecks are very interesting. Today we dived on an ex-patrol boat at a depth of 20 meters. I remember it when the armed forces had it, because before they sank it, they told us, come and have a look now and have a look after. So I know what it looked then and how it looks now. It's interesting, and fish apparently go in for these wrecks. They hibernate inside and they move around and get their own home, in other words. The visibility hits you and the silhouette. Having torches in your hand, you can really visualize the creatures down there. The seabed is always changing, the fish are moving, so that's what makes it going dive after dive. It extended my life, I would say. Some people lost it, I gained it. I gained life due to diving, so that kept me going.
The duel between Fado Cubed and Rambler is resolved in the American trimaran's favour, with both craft averaging 12 knots over the second half of the course. A fraction under 2 days and 12 hours after leaving the letter, Lloyd Thornburg's American Mod 70, co-skippered by Brian Thompson, crosses the finish line just after midnight to take multi-hull line honours.
We've been talking about this race for about 4 years before I had this boat. I've been wanting to do it, but never got a boat here, and I've always heard it's one of the most beautiful races, and that proved to be absolutely true. It was incredible, the sights, and it's amazing. It's a dream come true.
Just under 5 hours later, Rambler 88 confirms her dominance of the monohull fleet. George David's new craft was never given the opportunity to equal her namesake's 2007 Triple Crown, but the victory sets the seal on a hugely demanding and successful campaign for the American yacht.
We had incredibly varied conditions. I think we saw basically every tenth of a knot wind speed from 0 to 23, and we saw every single cardinal point of the compass for wind direction. And we set the record in 2007, which still stands today, and it's nice to keep that one intact.
Another yacht enjoying a successful debut season is Momo. Dieter Schoen's Maxi 72 has challenged in all waters and all conditions, and her performance in Malta maintains that standard. The German craft takes advantage of the improving conditions, and her arrival time into Valletta, 9 hours after Rambler, allows Momo to lead IRC on corrected time. Not that her owner believes she'll stay there.
Da kommen noch einige Boote, die uns überholen werden. Aber das ist völlig normal. Also nur weil man jetzt als Erster reinkommt, muss man entspannt bleiben und dann warten wir ab, bis es zum Schluss ausgeht. Aber ich glaube es nicht.
While line honours have been decided, over 200 miles behind, the middle of the fleet is rounding San Vito di Capo on Favignana, off the western tip of Sicily. Favignana's name is derived from a type of wind, but there is precious little breeze for the competitors stranded in its shadow. The favourable conditions encountered by the leaders are replaced by the light air that characterised the earlier part of the race. Here, the class boats in IRC4 are engrossed in their own duel, one that will eventually be decided in Rockall 4's favour. The battle for IRC between B2 and Mascalzone Latino comes down to a dramatic conclusion late on day 4. B2 are looking to repeat their 2013 victory, but as their TP52 crosses the line, a little under 3 days and 11 hours after the start, celebrations are muted. The team has no idea whether it has beaten its rivals on corrected time.
Beh, bisogna aspettare che arrivino i concorrenti e insomma aspetteremo di vedere quale sarà il risultato finale, ma poi bisogna aspettare anche quelli più piccoli della classe, vedere con che vento arriveranno loro. Come sempre è una gara che è aperta fino alla fine e anche dopo.
Mascalzone Latino comes into harbour just over an hour behind, but with the advantage of that superior handicap. Nevertheless, there is also confusion in their ranks until navigator Ian Moore makes some dockside calculations.
Deep down in my heart, I think I know that it was probably B2 that has taken the win, certainly in our class and perhaps overall. But there's some confusion about the start times and the exact elapsed time. So I've worked it out that they've beaten us by 10 seconds.
The following morning, the principal race officer has the definitive result.
After 3 days of racing, 3 days and 10 hours, an incredibly close finish with just 9 seconds on corrected time between them. And I'm quite sure they're asking themselves where could they make up or where could they have lost those 9 seconds.
the winds increase, but not to the extent that B2's lead in IRC can be threatened. Instead, the remainder of the fleet gathers speed on the final downwind leg from Lampedusa to Valletta. For these crews, there is relief and no little elation at having completed one of the great milestones in open water sailing. Lunz and Meer's odyssey is also coming to a close. Every nautical mile covered has signified a priceless learning experience for her young, enthusiastic crew. And despite being at sea for almost 6 days, their intensity and commitment continues all the way to the finish line.
È stata bellissima, è stata un'altra esperienza di crescita enorme. E la cosa bella è che è una crescita che puoi condividere con tutto l'equipaggio. Noi siamo stati molto disponibili, molto vogliosi di imparare, perciò è stato un mix fantastico. E sì, bellissimo.
Overall winner and winner of the Rolex Middle Sea Race Trophy, B2.
The official prize giving confirms B2 as winners of the 2015 Rolex Middle Sea Race. Michele Galli's team taking their second victory in 3 years. The winning margin, 9 seconds, is the narrowest in the race's history, less than 30 meters after 608 miles of racing.
È stata una lotta proprio fino all'ultimo minuto. Questa è una regata che credo sia già abbastanza difficile vincere. Vincerla 2 volte sicuramente è una soddisfazione molto grande.
Once more, the Rolex Middle Sea Race has lived up to its tradition as a complex challenge, pushing competitors' perseverance, patience and seamanship to the absolute limit, and culminating in a finish that is unlikely to be equalled. In the next edition of Spirit of Yachting, we're in Cowes on the Isle of Wight to celebrate 200 years of the Royal Yacht Squadron.